I will open the floor up now for Q&A. If you want to just drop your questions in the chat. And I'll then I'll answer them and maybe bring you on if you just unmute yourself and I do start answering them. But just ping all your questions in the chat and we'll start going through them. If we've still got people on the line, I don't know if anyone's logged off. I've been chatting for quite a while. But ping your questions in the chat. Oh.
Hi Ryan, Alex here.
Hi.
Sorry, I was just changing internet connection because it was a bit dodgy. Was that a chance to ask questions now? Is that right?
Yeah, sure. I mean, ping them in the chat, but whilst you're off mic, just go away, fire away, go on.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't sure if it was on the voice or on the chat. Yeah, I've sort of signed up to various training courses in the past, which have offered sort of one-on-one mentoring, and then sort of 3 attempts at trying to make a phone call with someone later, and it's still not happening. The one-on-one mentoring kind of fell to the wayside a bit. I'm not sure if you're offering one-on-one here, but the guys, sort of Zach and the other gentleman who's left earlier on, mentioned sort of you're also very keen to sort of get back to people and respond. Is that sort of a phone call a week, or just on the WhatsApp group, or a bit of both?
My success depends on your success. So if I can't be asked to pick a phone call up 3 times, then I'm not going to make you successful. So I also am a firm believer that the way that the program is now structured, it works in a way that we all benefit and accelerate a lot quicker. I do believe that a lot of people think that they need a phone call a week, one-to-one, but the reality of it is you don't. But if you do feel like you need that on my program, then you will get that. So it's, you only have to ask George or Zach or anybody else. But yeah, I think one thing that I am available, 9 times out of 10. And if you left me one phone call, I would bring you back, So, but at the same time, you also need to be out there doing it yourself a bit, and you cannot become totally dependent on your mentor that you need to ring them every single time. So I've set up a unique training platform where we work as a tribe. So, and it's a closed community. Everybody knows that they have to sort of swear into the fact that what stays in the group stays in the group. People can be vulnerable. They can ask questions that maybe they wouldn't want to have asked in another forum for fear of feeling stupid, for example. And that in itself helps everybody learn. Because let's say, for example, you've got a question that you want to ask me, but I think that it might benefit everybody, then I will ask you to probably post that in the group, and then I'll answer that in the group, because then they get the answer as well. And similarly, they're also told to do the same. So when they post it, you might be in the group and you might, oh yeah, that actually makes sense. I should have asked that question, but I didn't. But now I know the answer because everyone is in the tribe, you see. But if you need what I call SOS calls, or, you're just stuck with something and you just need 5, 10 minutes, half an hour, whatever it might be, an hour, yeah, of course I am. We book it in the diary and we get it done. But to say that we do, I used to do structured one-to-one calls every week. And it was always me dragging people onto the phone calls rather than them booking the calls. And when we got on the calls, 9 times out of 10, they didn't even have anything to talk about. So we ended up wasting time chatting shit rather than just producing results and getting out there and doing the activity. So my answer to your question is, yes, it 100% is a one-to-one program, but it's also structured in other ways that are proven to get better results by bringing people together in a network.
That's super. No, thanks. That makes sense. And yeah, I wouldn't be expecting to need a phone call every week. But yeah, it's just nice to know that, as you say, if the emergency arises, there's someone there to sort of give a helping hand.
I mean, I've had mentees, especially in the early days, who are literally sat in the car and they're like, right, Ryan, I'm about to go on my first viewing. Can you just go through the script again? And it's like, yeah, no worries. Let's go through it, And then they come out. I'm like, ring me when you come out because I want to know about it, So, yeah, the support's there. But, at the same time, you don't need as much one-to-one support as you think. And,
No,
you know,
sure.
9 times out of 10, all I'm going to do is give you the clarity that you need to open your minds to think differently. And that's half the battle, it's not about the knowledge. You can get the knowledge from anywhere. Go on YouTube, you can get the knowledge, you know?
Yep.
And it's not about the knowledge. It's about the clarity and the confidence that it brings to be able to help you push through the harder parts of getting to where you need to be.
Super. No, thanks, Zach. Really appreciate it.
No.
One little thing about the group as well, just to drop in there if you don't mind, is that successes are celebrated between people in the group as well. The type of group that it isn't people aren't up their own arse or you know, they tell you their success to look better than each other. Success is celebrated and encouraged, and everyone supports each other. So to become part of that alone is fantastic, and it's that provides a lot of support in itself. Never mind the backup and the one-to-one that you get as part of the course. That alone provides you with, you know, a lot of what you need. So it's definitely adding value to something that you already get value from.
Super.
Yeah.
Thanks, Zach, George. Really appreciate it.
No worries.
So, questions here. On a down market, how do you minimize risk in BRR deals? Well, I think there's 2 elements, isn't there? I mean, no one can predict COVID, for example. You know, that's just impossible. But if you're getting involved in BRR, then for me, you're investing for the long term. So worst case scenario, if you got stuck in a deal, you could sell it, because really you should have acquired it at least 17 to 25% below market value. And even if you chuck your refurb cost in there should still be headroom to get out that deal if need be. Now, obviously, it depends on where your cash flow is at the time. So, like, for example, at the minute, I haven't got loads in the pipeline like I would normally have, and there's a bit of money sat around. So I'm probably taking on deals that probably leave more in than I would like. But at the same time, I've got nothing to spend the money on. So I'd rather have a bit of a cash flow coming through and get that money deployed than it's sat in the bank doing nothing. So it all depends. And I don't think you can ever fully protect yourself. I think you've got to just minimize your risk, but your risk is minimized by your entry point in the first place. Because even if I say go in at 17% below market value, which is about the most or the minimum that I'll ever enter a deal on, might squeeze it to 15% sometimes. Let's say the market shifts 7%, you know, I'm still going to be, you know, 8% below market value. So yeah, it's going to tie a bit more money up. But again, it's not like we're buying £1 million houses here, £10 million houses. You know, we're buying 50 grand flats, 75 grand terraced houses, 150 grand terraced houses. So a percentage shift of that magnitude on that value of property, it's not really going to tie that much more money up. So I think you've got to go with your gut. And if you know what you're doing and you can analyze deals properly and you know how to do good comparables, then you, touch wood, I mean, I've had 5 refinances in the last 3 weeks, I think, and 4 out of the 5 came in bang on the money. One of them got down values. Had an argument with the valuer, but didn't get anywhere. So I'm just going to accept that one and take it on the chin. Total bullshit. You know, 3 flats in the same block valued at 95 grand and he valued it at 83. So, you know, just a load of shit. But is what it is. The rest of them came bob on. So, you know, you trust your process, you trust your comparables, and it's just one of those things. Personally, I don't think we're in a down market. I think we're in anything but. And people keep saying, oh, the big crash is coming. I fucking hope it is. But there's just no real sign of it. It's definitely slowed down. And I think things are getting back to normal. So the good BMV, BRR type properties are back on the market again. A lot of the sales are falling through because lenders are getting, you know, strict. They're asking for more than the deposits that they're pitching. So there's a lot of stock coming back on the market. But, you know, we're investing in property for the long term. So even if I get something wrong, as long as it's cash flowing me, that's all I intend to do. I don't really ever intend to sell my stock because I'm just going to pass it on to the kids. So as long as I can get cash flow out of it for as long as I need, then that's me happy. So if I'm going to be invested for 20 or 30 years, I think I've got to accept that I'm going to have a few more roller coasters to go through and you've got to just make sure that you're on the right side of all that, to keep your cash flowing, you know, and make sure that you're protected. But it all comes with how you get into the deal. It's the same for rental deals, you know, same for rental deals. People are paying £1,200–1,300 for properties that I'm paying £800 a month for, you know, same streets, same locations, because they haven't done their due diligence. They haven't got into the deal correctly. And ultimately I'm making money and they're losing money, you know, because I bought properly. I got into the deal properly. It's not what you can sell it for, it's what you get into the deal for. So how you can acquire stuff is really important. How do you know an area will work for SA? So there's, again, you know, a lot of ways you can analyze it, but for me, hotels are a good sign. Were a good sign. Hotels are a good sign. If there's hotels on your doorstep, you know, it means that they've done a lot of research. And population of cities tends to play a big thing. But again, you know, there's a few spanners being thrown in the works. And I firmly believe, all right, fair enough, you might not be able to say SA works in like total rural areas, but cities, major cities, fringes of cities, they work incredibly well if you know what you're doing in terms of your marketing activity and you know what your avatar is. My avatar is not fancy flats. I've got fancy flats on the quayside. You know, that's not my ideal avatar. My ideal avatar is a home from home for contractors. And that's where the money is. So these guys, I know that they don't want to go into cities. I know that they just want to park their vans outside on the street or securely on your drive. So, you know, they're the type of things that work for me. But then even in a downturn, like when COVID happened, we still made money because we doubled down on our marketing efforts. We doubled down on our prospecting efforts. We worked with businesses. We found people that were traveling. We put offers on for NHS staff. We just went like the whole 9 yards and did as much as we possibly can to bring revenue in. We did deals for people that were stuck in the country and couldn't fly home, you know. So it's not so much, if you want to just go and do the I'll post on Airbnb and booking.com and sit back and wait for the cash to come in strategy, then you need to be damn right sure that your area works. But if you know how to make a property work, then the area is not irrelevant as such, but it's not as big of a factor because you just need to be there or thereabouts. It's the activity that goes in to drag people into that property that makes the difference. What is the SA process and how do you work with an investor with that? I've got many deals that I've got. We've got JVs with people where we just split the rent in half and split the bills in half. I've got JVs with people where they bring the stock, I run the operations and we split the profit. I've got BRR JVs with investors where we half the profit, half the equity in the house. What else we got on that front? So there's no, I think, again, you know, coming back to the earlier points of digging into the pain points, you know, understanding what the pain points are of the individual that you're going to go into partnership with or the investor that you're working with. You know, what are their pain points? You know, why aren't they just doing it? Because they've got reasons. So if they're interested in doing it, but they're not doing it themselves, why aren't they? They don't know how, they can't be bothered, they haven't got the time, you know, they haven't got the passion, whatever it might be. What are the pain points? And then from that, you try and solve those problems. And from that, you then build a JV contract out, or you build a relationship out that works for both of you. You know, and that's kind of how I work with people. Do you fund your own deals or look for investors? So this was a big mindset thing for me initially. So I funded my own from building up my cash flow through sort of rent to rent, basically, and rent to SA. And I had a big chip on my shoulder. I don't know why. It's stupid now that I think about it, but I did. I didn't want to use anybody else's money. I felt like I was cheating. So I was like, no, I've got to do this myself. But then I figured out that really, there's no different to using Joe Bloggs' money and giving them a 10% return than using Together Finance's money on a bridging loan and giving them a 21% return or whatever the figures are. So, you know, it's a win-win. They've got money, it's not doing anything in the bank, and they get paid, you know. So when I overcame that, yeah, now I fund with my cash, I fund with bridging loans, and I fund with investor finance. And that's again allowing us to scale even further. So I'm leveraging other people's money, I'm leveraging other people's time, and again, it helps that scalability factor. What do you think of building a business while working full time? I think that's what you've got to do, and that's where everyone starts in property. I think it is that sort of industry where you want to get into property, so you've got to figure it out, and this all comes back to time management and the excuses that you haven't got time to do it. It's total bollocks. Like, you know, most people work 40-45 hours a week. I think do you have 140 hours a week or something like that? So let's assume you've got 100 hours left. Let's assume you sleep 6 hours a day. There's 60. You've still got 40 hours a week to work on your property business. So technically, you're working on your property business the same time that you're working on your proper job. But your property business is going to get you much better results for most people. You know, so again, it's just that time is an excuse factor, you know. So for me, I think you've got to do it at the start. I think everybody does it at the start. But then when you start to get the cash flow and the residual income coming through from property, you then start to realize that your 9 to 5 is not what you want. You don't want to be tied to a desk. You don't want to be building someone else's dream. You quite like the idea of working on your own diary, deciding how you operate on a daily basis, how long you go on holiday for, etc., etc. And that fuels the passion to build your property business even further. And, you know, that's certainly what happened with me. What is SA and how do you work with it? I think I've answered that one. I think that's it. If anyone's got any more questions, hop off mute, by all means, and just fire away. If anyone's got any more questions. If anybody is interested in, you know, exploring the inner circle and exploring joining the tribe and you know, working with me and the team and pushing yourself forward, then what's the best way to do this? Just jump in Messenger and just put, just type a message to myself and just put 6F, hashtag 6F. Just ping that in Messenger and we'll reach back out to you and we'll let you know a bit more about what we can do and how we can get you on board. Just a brief overview. You know, just quickly give you a behind the scenes look at the program. Obviously we've got the 7-figure program for the 12-month guys, and then we've got the fast cash one, which is the 6-figure. And you know, just we go through a lot of stuff, but everything I do is about implementation. So everything in these programs here is about implementation. I don't want you, these videos are no longer, you know, there's not hours and hours of content in here anymore. I've scaled it right down. It's about taking action because action creates results. So, you know, everything's just about quickly getting set up and then just taking results, you know, getting quick paths to fast cash. I want you guys to be earning as much as you can, as quick as you can, you know, because that helps you then, you know, scale quicker and it gives you the confidence. And, you know, as you see, there's kind of 6 levels here. So we would love to work with you, and hopefully you can see that we can provide some awesome value. And I know we get results, you know, that I don't need to justify myself on that front. You know, I know we get results, and I know we give you everything you need to get results. It's up to you whether you put the action in to get the results. That's the difference. And hopefully by clearing up a few of the mindset issues earlier, and those that have stayed are obviously not the ones that got scared off by the amount of work that is required. But quite quickly, a bit like Zach, you know, he's pretty much changed his life in 4 months. You know, he's 22-year-old. If that boy's not a millionaire by 25, I will eat my hat. And if he's not retired by 30, well, I'll also eat another one. But, you know, he's in the right direction. He's got the right attitude. He turns up, he does his work. And that's all you need to do, you know. And, you know, George as well, who was on before, I'm not sure if he's disappeared, but again, takes action, listens, follows the guides, and just takes the right steps. And, you know, he's got a very nice, diverse portfolio now. Lease options, he's got BRRs on the go now, he's got rent to SAs, he's got, you know, he's got all sorts on the go now, and he's scaling at a rapid rate, because once you know how to do it, you can scale quickly. You know, so that is it from me. Awesome to have you all. Thank you very much for your time. And as I said, if anybody's interested, just ping me a message on Facebook, #6F, and we will reach back out to you and tell you a bit more about what we can do, and hopefully get you inside and get you on board and get you started. Thanks, guys.